Hello, Rafael. Hey, Rafael, can you hear me? I can't hear you yet.
Hi,
Hey, Rafael, how are you?
good, thank you.
Good to see you. Hey, Laura. Where's Laura? Laura, can you hear us?
I can. Yeah, I
Hey,
don't know if you can hear me though.
yes, I
Hi.
can hear you. Good to see you guys. How are you doing? How was your week?
Good. Very
Good.
good.
Fantastic. So wonderful. Let's get started. First, let's see what you've done this week. Who wants to go first to share your home assignments?
Not I.
No, that okay. Rafael, you want to go first?
Yes,
Go
I
ahead.
need to share my screen.
Yes, I think it's already.
Okay.
Yes, you can share your screen. Yes.
Okay. Okay. First, you see screen. You see a bonbon stuff like that.
Mhm.
Now.
No, hold on. I don't see your screen. One second. Let me make sure. This screen sharing. One second. One second. I don't see your screen. I'm still having a little bit of trouble here. One second. Give me a second. Okay, now I see your screen now, Rafael.
Okay.
I see. Yes.
I go. This is the project I choose.
Okay.
It's kind of healthy chips and candy.
Okay.
Oops. Now, I create a little text about because I do it like a pitch.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's a local product with and I choose a Foxy for that.
Mm-hmm. So why did you choose a fox?
Because it's clever.
It's clever. Okay.
Clever, yeah. It's a clever animal, and it's funny. The kids love fox. And I almost I hesitate with other animals like bear and a bee. But I think fox is general, and it represents the environment.
The environment. Okay.
Yeah, at Canada, it's and
oh wow, it's beautiful, Rafael. What
It
a
is beautiful.
Such a beautiful illustration.
And this is a bluebirds, a kind of bluebirds, very popular in Canada. Okay.
Okay.
I am do it's like a farmer, a local boy.
Okay, so this is this company is like a family-owned company, or it's like a big company in Canada?
Excuse me, a bee.
Is this Bonbon company you just shared with us? Is that like a big corporation, or is it like a family-owned company?
Like it's a company. It's a family company.
Family-owned company, because yeah, it's beautiful. The character definitely has a feeling of somebody like average person, somebody like people can relate to, which is it's really great.
And
fox is cunning, intelligent. This is why he's the ideal animal to represent a brand health treats. Consumers are looking for a product that is both tasty and healthy, and the fox is the perfect symbol of this combination. The fox has a cute and attractive appearance that appeals to consumers and makes them buy the product. Additionally, the fox cunning character suggests that consumers can trust the brand to deliver quality and nutritious products. Moreover, the fact that the fox is considered an intelligent animal symbolizes the idea that the products are designed to be healthy and can be consumed without fear. Finally, the fox is a very popular animal which means that it can be easily recognized and associated with the brand. Consumers can therefore easily remember the brand and its products. All of this makes the fox the ideal animal to represent a brand of health treats. Okay, beautiful, really, really well written, Rafael.
Mhm.
I want to read about the environment. Can you go back?
Yeah.
The fox is often depicted as a fox living in a rural setting that represents the Canadian countryside. Other Canadian animals also appear in the drawings, such as the owl, beaver, wolf, and caribou. The fox is very agile and clever. He's always ready to help other comic book characters, and he likes to participate in adventures. His strength is his ability to find solutions to the problems he encounters. The fox is very attached to its environment and feels at home in the Canadian countryside. He appreciates the calm and serenity of the countryside, and he likes to walk in the woods. He knows how to get along in nature and is very close to other animals that live there. The fox is constantly evolving character who shows great courage and determination. He easily adapts to his environment and is highly respected by other characters in the comics. The fox is therefore a model for young Canadians who can be inspired by his courage and determination. Beautiful. So, Ophelia, I want to ask you a few questions. So, the products that you showed, what's what's the target audience of these products? Who are the consumers?
Young boy and young girl, families, almost families, but there are other things. Do you remember Bazooka Joe?
Oh yeah, of course. I used to collect those cartoons.
I think made the same thing. You know, you have a code, a QR code on the because it's very ecological mindset.
Mhm.
This product, and the comic are on the web. It's web comic, but you can scan your QR code and have a little comic with strip comic.
Mhm.
Like this 3Ks, beat and punch most of the time.
Mhm.
I like the idea of collectible stuff.
Yes,
Even if it, on the web.
Even of the web, actually, I think that you can do both. You can actually pitch this to the company, and they can include comics that it's actually goes inside the package itself, but also they can do a QR code, and they can go online and continue their experience online. So you're already creating a multi-platform experience.
That's and beautiful. This is the kind of calm environment, rural. It's for it's almost for the rural people.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
On Canada, because the product are there.
That's beautiful. What else did you create for that?
That's all.
Beautiful. So what did you learn from this experience, Rafael? What is your what did you take from this?
To make choice rapidly, and to identify a project, and try to find the essence of
the essence of the brand.
Yes.
And I'm just curious, does this brand, do they have any advertising, like any marketing materials? Nothing. Can I go?
No.
I want to see back.
No, it's more an example, but it's very they don't have it's new. It's very new because
these three packages, they look very different. It looks like three different companies.
Yeah. It's more an example. It's not a specific company. It's an example of the company I can find and offer them the brand, the character brands I do.
Oh, I see. So I thought you already chose a certain brand, because
Oh,
Yes, go ahead.
okay. Oh, and this. Okay, but this is more the brand Bonbon. It's more the brand I choose. The other is more, for example, of kind of project I do for my research.
Okay, so the one on the left is the one that you think can be somebody you would approach with your idea.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So they don't have any marketing, anything online, anything like that.
No. It's very new.
Interesting. I think that it fits like the sensibility of your design, the way you chose even the color palettes. If you just go back to the original color, I think you did the invert. Yes. So even your color palette can go very well in the design, the way you approach the character design and the styling, it can go very, very well with the Bonbon. It would be also nice to actually maybe incorporate into your concept how the candy is made, because I think one of the things you want to emphasize, because it's environment friendly and it's natural, I think it would be nice to show maybe the fox, he's showing how he makes the candy. Like maybe the fox can take us inside a big barn, and there's like a facility where he manufactures those bonbons, and he can talk about the process, how he makes the bonbons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can really play with how you design the machines. It can look very, very contemporary, but also look very kind of old school, kind of, because your design have those both kind of approaches, both sensibilities. So I think this is something you can play with, like, oh, in my family, we've been making those candies for over 100 years. Here, let me show you. I'm going to take you inside our facility, and then all the animals you can meet inside the facility. You can meet different animals, like the bird. Oh, I'm mixing the sugar. And then you can meet maybe a squirrel. Oh, I'm they can all like participate in the process making of those of the candy. Just an idea.
It's a great idea.
Because when I see your character, the first thing that comes to mind is, what is the relationship of your character? Can go back. I want to see the go back. Yeah, when I see the character, it's like, what is the relationship of this fox with the company? So one thing comes to mind, he actually makes the candy, so that's kind of, it's an obvious thing to think about. Oh, actually he's the one who makes those candies. So have you thought?
I also saw him like throwing them up and like catching them in his little mouth, like showing he's enjoying eating them. Like that would be a marketing tool.
Absolutely, eating them. Maybe he can be even like a traveler, that he have those candies in his pocket, and he travels Canada, and there's so many beautiful places in Canada, and he can say, oh, when I'm traveling, I really enjoy eating those candies because they make my experience blah blah blah, something like that. That's another thing. You can be like, you can put a backpack on him and a little stick in his hand and maybe binoculars on his chest, and then he can be like some kind of a traveler.
Oh, yeah.
And these candies, that's a great idea, Laura. It's really it's good.
We're sharing them with the other animals. We're eating them while they're making them, or there's so many varieties. It's exciting. It could be a whole children's book story.
Yeah. Just think about different ideas, Rafael. What is the relationship of the fox to the product? So you can play with that, and you can have really a lot of great time. But I think you have a really, it's a beautiful design, and I love the color palette is kind of reminds me of the fall in Canada. I've been to Canada a couple of times, so the color of the fall, the yellow, the oranges,
Is that watercolor, Raphael? Is that?
It's Photoshop.
It's Photoshop. Okay.
Digital. Really, yeah, beautiful. So anything else you would like to share from your experience, Rafael?
Not for the moment, but I take note of the idea, and it's real. And I need to create more a relation with the character, with the brand.
Exactly. And I think you have something, maybe you can even, like you say, you can pitch to the company. I think it's really, it's a great opportunity for you to practice and pitch it to the company. It's brilliant. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Beautiful work, Rafael. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, Laura, now it's you.
I was a bad student. I didn't get to it.
You didn't get to it. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything you want to share from
Well,
your
I
week?
did think about it and I did
Okay.
write about it a little bit and I did a drawing, but I didn't know exactly what it was. Like, what am I trying to market? Like, I guess I don't usually come from that frame of mind. You know what I mean? I'm usually just writing a children's story and, so it was hard. I had a block and I attempted, but it didn't go anywhere. So I guess it was a new idea that, I'm willing to still try it, but it just didn't happen this week.
Okay. So
Yeah.
would you like to share what came to your mind and where you got stuck? Maybe we can help brainstorm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I started with the sun and it was sort of a Native American kind of symbol. And it was moving and then I was like, well, maybe this could be a t-shirt for an exercise gym or something, like some symbol. And I mean, I could show it to you, but I'm not super proud of it.
No,
Yeah.
well, I would love to
Yeah.
see it because we're not here to judge, we're here to empower. So we
Yeah.
don't need,
Well, let me finish it because I
Okay.
always have a hard time sharing stuff when it's unfinished. It's like halfway done. And then I didn't realize that it's a great idea Raphael did with like writing it all out and explaining, how he was going to market or what, how it was connected to his marketing. I like that. It was very clear, Raphael. I really appreciate you doing that because I didn't really know what we're doing. So now I do.
Okay. And if you anytime, just if you have some questions, you can always reach out to me, Laura. So if something not clear and if you need some creative support, always feel free to reach out to me because I would love to help.
Thank you.
Okay, wonderful, guys. Thank you so much for sharing really beautiful work. Now let's get to the content. We have some really great things to share with you. Do you see my screen?
I see you, but not what you want to share, I think.
Okay, let me see. I need to go back. Okay, got it. Let me go back to my slides. I think now you can see, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. We have some really cool stuff today. Very important topics that we're gonna cover. As you can see, we are slowly veering from the content storytelling and the design, just design and the basic things of character design. We're getting deeper into marketing and also how to strategize, because as you remember in the beginning of the class and the description of the class, the purpose of the class is not that just to design characters for children's books and children's publishing, but the mindset you are trained and practice in this course is how to think big with what you create into a franchise. So we're going to go deeper into those different avenues that are at your disposal, whatever you choose to utilize. But I'm going to show you some really great examples today of how different brands and franchises are utilizing different avenues we have today, which are in the digital age are at our disposal. So today the theme is the power of thinking big, creating the blueprint for characters that can grow into a franchise. How to approach and strategize your IP, intellectual property, with the right mindset that can grow and expand. And again, Rafael and Laura, you guys feel free to either, you can continue, Rafael, working on the bonbon idea that you have, or you can switch to something else. You guys, whatever you feel comfortable. Same thing for you, Laura. You can keep working on your book, or you can practice something imaginary just for the sake of practice. So don't feel obligated to get hooked on one thing. I want you to explore. I want to be very playful in this class. Just enjoy the process for the sake of learning, and then you can apply it to whatever you want. So don't feel obliged, Rafael. Oh, I'm going to continue just on the whatever you guys want to continue. Okay.
Okay.
So let's talk about what is a power franchise. Power franchise is a franchise that has reached such a legendary status that has been adopted into mainstream society. Example: Pokemon, Winnie the Pooh, and Mickey Mouse. So when we talk about franchise, we can see some very big franchise that are not only famous, but you can see how they penetrated into different walks of life, into society, how they become cultural, not just cultural icons, but actually people live and breathe. Even not mentioned in this example, we have Harry Potter, we have Star Wars, many others. So I have prepared for you guys a little bit of numbers, because again, you guys here also thinking as entrepreneurs. So let's talk about some numbers. Who knew that the #1 franchise in the world is Winnie the Pooh? Did you know that? I didn't know that until not too long ago, because I was curious to see which franchise is the most grossing franchise, and lo and behold, Winnie the Pooh is #1. It was launched or started in 1924, almost 100 years ago. The total revenue as of June 2022 is $73.7 billion. That's with a B. And that started from a book. So you guys never know. You know, I see each and every one of you a potential to become a mega franchise. So I see you in a very big, in a big manner. I don't see you small. So you never know, whatever you create is going to become the next franchise. And if you look at the breakdown of REV, is a revenue breakdown. So you can see here that the retail sales are 73.45 million, box office 214 million, DVD and Blu-ray just 49 million. So we're talking about very big numbers. And this is a huge money making machine, because even today in the age of Netflix, people still buy, you know, DVDs and Blu-rays and things like that, and definitely are they love collecting the merchandise, which we're going to talk a lot about today, about merchandising. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So what does it take, like, to kick it off? Like, do you have to be in the industry for a while, or do you have to have just like a super popular book, or like what makes it kick into that next stage of, you know?
Wonderful question. In the case of Winnie the Pooh started as a book. So what created the kickoff is basically the popularity of the book. And in some point, I don't remember in what year, but Disney they acquired the franchise in some point, because big corporations, they like to acquire successful IPs for the sake of money. So when Disney acquired Winnie the Pooh, they created the animation that's based on the book. And after the animation, I think the animation was first created in the 60s. So from 1924 until 1960 something, we talk about 40 years of time to gain popularity. So between the time of the publishing of the book until Disney acquired, I cannot see how much. I wouldn't say that there was much money that was made on the franchise side, but it is guaranteed that once Disney bought it and started to produce the animation, that's when the merchandise started to kick in, because Disney is a very well-oiled marketing machine. So when they recognize successful IPs, they want to buy them, and then they start to utilize all their expertise to turn into toys, games, and today we have the digital age. So it's growing even much further. So the first thing is to establish the book. The same thing happened with Harry Potter. Harry Potter started as a book, but then it turned into a film. And then all the other things came: the video games, the costumes, there are theme parks, Harry Potter theme parks today. So as you can see, the storytelling was the first thing that kicked it off. There was something that I don't have the exact analysis. What was it about Winnie the Pooh that actually kicked off? Why Winnie the Pooh became such a popular brand? That's a good question. Maybe you have insights on that. But obviously, it's very successful in terms of storytelling, the turn, and a character design as well, that grew into such a huge merchandise and a franchise, basically. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Now the second one, Pokemon. It's the from those top 4, and again, there are many others, but we're talking here about really the biggest one that's crossed the $50 billion mark. There are many others below them, like Harry Potter and the many Barbie, Legos, and we're going to talk about those Lego later as well. But the top 4 are those. And now Pokemon started in 1996. Is annual gross as of June 2022 is $71 billion. And the breakdown is licensed merchandise, $69.2 billion. Box office, $1.85 billion. and jet aircraft livery sells $3 million. So they have many avenues. Started as a video game, but you can see the biggest portion of their revenues is coming from licensed merchandising. It's interesting because when you have a well-known merchandise, basically, if you are, let's say you are a manufacturer of children's clothing, so that's when you can approach the owner of this IP and say, okay, I would like to license your products because of their familiarity. And that's how you make a lot of money. So licensing is a huge business. We're going to talk about it in later in our upcoming 2 classes about licensing. It's a huge business. So what people are looking for is how to utilize your brand familiarity to make money. And then you can do a lot of different things. And we're going to have also a case study about Pokemon, about certain entrepreneur that wanted to create a whole entire world of Pokemon, which is also based on licensing. The third one is Mickey Mouse, we're well familiar, almost the same year that started as Winnie the Pooh, 1928, $66.7 billion per year, retail sales $65.96 billion, box office $457 million, still plays in the theaters apparently. VHS and DVD, $280 million, started as animation. So in each franchise, you can see a different breakdown. And there are different avenues how each franchise is utilizing their revenues, but it's interesting to study that further. And then the fourth one is Star Wars, started in 1977, $65 billion. Breakdown, merchandise sales, $42.2 billion. The highest one is the merchandise, obviously. Number 2 is the box office, $10.3 billion. Home video, $6.3 billion. Video games, $4.01 billion. Book sales, that's interesting, books, right? Star Wars started as a film. And then they kind of ventured into books, $1.82 billion. And TV revenue, since they launched the Mandalorian on Disney Channel, Disney Plus channel, they basically created another form of expansion of the revenue. And we're going to talk about those different channels, or what we call transmedia expansion of different brands, how your characters are growing into something much bigger. And there is no limit really how and into which avenues you can grow. Like, for example, if you look at your idea, Rafael, with the fox, we're going to talk about it. I'll let you start thinking about it, how you can actually start growing that character into different avenues in terms of marketing in that case, because you are your fox is basically marketing a product. So you can think about how you can grow those, expand into different fields with this fox, into toys, into maybe, I'm just throwing ideas. For example, you can see that fox having his own a little animation show that he's teaching children how to make. It's like a little chef show, right? He can teach kids how to make candies. That's one idea. So you start to see how you can expand your character into different avenues, but you're also expanding the world at the same time. Does it make sense? Okay. Now let's continue from the numbers, and let's talk about the 3 elements of a power media franchise. So the 3 main elements, as we already talked about, they are characters, story, and the world. So those 3 are really the holy trinity of a successful franchise: characters, story, and the world. Now let's dive deeper into that. The reason why each reader turns to the next page, in that case of a book or something they read, is because of the characters they have introduced them to, as well as the story they are experiencing. However, a well-built world is critical to these elements. But in other words, it's not enough to have great stories and great characters. A well-built world is very important. And we're going to cover in the next slides what it takes to create a well-built world. What are the elements? The characters will be tainted and molded by the society they were brought up in. They are affected by geographic locations and limited to the various rules of their universe. In other words, when you create a world or universe, you have to create certain rules. Like in Harry Potter, the rules are, it's based on magic. So there's white magic and there's black magic. In Pokemon, there's also an element of magic. And there's another element that they're hybrids of different animals together. And there are elements that also they incorporate of fire, earth, water, etc. So they divide the characters into groups by those 4 elements. So as you can see here, when you establish certain rules and laws, whether they are scientific or imaginary laws, that makes your universe world much more appealing. The same applies to you, Laura. When you create the shamanic worlds, I would imagine like when your main character Jessie, right? Her name is Jessie.
Yes.
Just Jessie. When Jessie goes from different book to another, she's going to go through different worlds, and it would be great to think about what are the rules or what are the principles in each and every world. So that's something for you to consider.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. A reader first fall in love with your character. That's the first thing, obviously. But then they become obsessed with the world as the story reveals more of it. It is that obsession which builds a powerful franchise. Basically, it's not the goal to make people obsessed, but it's an outcome. And especially kids, I remember because I work with kids for many years, and I see kids how they become obsessed with things like whether it's Lego or Pokemon. They're completely hooked, and if not to say even addicted to those characters and worlds. They become obsessed because we're going to talk again in the upcoming slides what it means to create an immersive world. Basically, the participant or the viewer, they feel that they're immersed in a certain reality. It's like, we live in a certain reality in this world, but then you can go into a whole different universe. And when you know the principles and the foundation of this universe, that's when it becomes very successful. So in this case, obsession, right? The human desire to escape from the life we live in becomes so strong that the fantasy of the world created bleeds through into our own. People have Star Wars weddings, and kids go to school wearing Gryffindor scarves. So when you talk about bleeding, it's basically people start incorporating those things into their lives. There's a wonderful book I've read some years ago. It's called Life, the movie. In this book, it's written, I think, by Neil Gabler. It's really wonderful book because he explains how entertainment and life, they basically live together, and there is a merging between the two. When you watch, when you are exposed to a very powerful media franchise or film or a book that really impacts you deeply, no matter what your age is, you feel some kind of empathy with the character, like we spoke last week. But the empathy also leads to you thinking about how does that relate into my life. And obviously the younger kids, in their case, they want to wear Mickey Mouse hat, they want to have the cartoony elements, even they behave in a cartoony way. So it really deeply impacts especially children. And unfortunately, a lot of brands, they are taking advantage of that, unless the parents are aware to what the children are exposed, because these things become a part of children's reality. So you have a great responsibility as a visual storyteller, how you basically what kind of content you create, and I hope that you will use it wisely to really empower and accomplish wonderful things, because you have very great opportunity to make a deep impact on children. So that's very important. Now, the third element of what it takes to create a power media franchise is the world building. So I would like to show you a quick video of a young entrepreneur that actually he did a crowdfunding campaign to build a Pokemon world. And we see here on the left, there is a map. He didn't create, somebody else. But the beautiful thing about Pokemon, people are so obsessed. And this is not like a little child. He's like in his 20s. But he's so, obviously he grew up on the Pokemon. And now he wants to create, he was trying to do a crowdfunding campaign on, I think it was Kickstarter, to create a whole universe of Pokemon about biology, about science, like really expanding on the universe. So this is really brilliant. So let's watch this really video, because he talks about what he wants to create. It's called The World of Pokemon. I have too many applications open, honey. I need to close some of them. Excuse me. Let me close my apps. It's gonna make the computer work faster. Just give me a second. Let me close those. Just give me a second, guys. Excuse me. Just gonna clear some space on the hard drive. Okay, let's close this, and I'm gonna open the. All right, let's watch that little presentation. It's really fascinating.
Hi guys, my name is Joshua Dunlop. I'm a freelance graphics artist and writer living in London. I've always loved science fiction and fantasy. So when the first Pokemon games came out, I fell in love. It combined both of those elements perfectly. But as I grew up, my friends grew out of it and I never did. So I always thought to myself, what could Pokemon do to make it better for an older generation? That's inspired me to create the world of Pokemon. What I want to create is a fully interactive website looking at Pokemon in a realistic way, similar to a National Geographic style. The website will include biological studies of the Pokemon, their habitats, diets, breeding habits, their types, abilities, and training techniques, and much, much more. We'll also be looking at the world that the Pokemon live in, including the towns, the cities, and the wilds, each having detailed maps and history surrounding them. We'll also look at the gyms and the gym leaders that run them. We'll take a look at the technology of their world, including Pokeballs, the Pokemon storage system, and fossil regeneration. The League and how it influences their world, including Pokemon battles, Pokemon beauty contests, and Pokemon breeding contests. We'll have a long and detailed look at the history of the Pokemon world, including lost civilizations, world wars, and religion. We'll also take a look at the natural biological evolution of all the Pokemon. The website will be full of extras such as online comics, fan fiction, and mini games and videos. My team and I will be concentrating on Kanto first. So once the site is launched, we'll be bringing you monthly updates with new information and new artwork, and working our way through the region just like you did in the first game. I put together an amazing team of artists, writers, and researchers. And with their help, I've already started work on the project, but sadly, without funding, we can't make this a reality. The money you donate will go to all of the costs for large-scale website, including upgrading our systems, the servers, domain names, and allowing us to spend all of our time as a team on this project. If we reach our target, you'll be kept up to date.
So now he talks more about the actual technicalities of his crowdfunding, but as you can see, it's a very, very ambitious endeavor that he's taken on the Pokemon. But really, what it's beautiful about this endeavor, that he's really creating a whole universe. And he's not even, he's not even the person who started Pokemon. He's a independent individual that is really, obviously, like he said, he never grew out of Pokemon since he was a child. So he's really obsessed about this universe. And this is such a great example of what can be done. And again, I'm not saying you have to do that with what you create, but it's good to think about those things, like think about those elements. So let's cover some of them in this list. So the fundamental of a successful franchise, world building. This is what we want to focus here. Number one, unique characters and stories, including backstories. So in his case, he doesn't have to work too much about the unique characters because the characters are already existing. So he's more focusing on world building. But if you start from scratch, obviously you have to create the characters yourself. You have to find out what are the characters, what are their What are the backstories? Like this guy was talking in his video, even talking about ancient history, about lost civilizations. Like this is something that he's borrowed from our own world. Like we have lost civilizations. I'm personally, I'm obsessed with lost civilization. It's something that I've been
Me too.
fascinated. Yeah, I just love that stuff. I read so many books about Atlantis, about Lemuria, about many other unknown civilizations, and you can draw so much inspiration from reading that. It's just mind blowing. You know, the official history that we've been presented is so minute compared to the information that you can find in books. You know, there's a lot of people who channel through different psychic abilities things from other ancient times, and there's amazing books you can draw information and get inspiration. So I think it's something that you can absolutely utilize for whatever you work in. It's just gives you a wider canvas to express yourself and give you much more creativity. Number two, unique cultures. Again, cultures, it's something that you can borrow from this planet or our history, but you can invent cultures. So have fun with that. Whether it's your folks living in the countryside, what kind of culture they have, you know, what is their daily habits, what kind of things he likes to do, or he friends, what kind of adventures they like to do. Again, in your case, Laura, the cultures of Jessie when she's visiting different shamanic worlds, what kind of cultures are you going to present? Cultures that are pertaining to our existing society, or are you going to invent, or maybe you're gonna create hybrids between the two, something that you invent versus something that's already existing, which I think can be wonderful. Because I think when you have like I've written a script about Nordic mythology for an animated film. So in my script, I use existing elements of Nordic mythology, but I invented a lot of stuff that does not exist. But when people watch certain elements that they're familiar with, it gives them sort of like an anchor to connect something. Like they know about Vikings, they know about the Kraken, etc. But then I come up with a whole new variety of things. So you can do the same. You know, when you talk about Indian culture and civilization, you can invent a whole new Indian tribe that nobody heard of. You know.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and
you know, Avatar is a little bit like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting you mentioned Avatar, because I mean, I personally was very disappointed from the new Avatar, because it's like he did copy paste from the Maori civilization, and he used it for those characters who are living in the ocean, and those who are living in the forest are the copy of the Native Americans. It was like too much of a resemblance. I would expect to see something much more imaginative in a far distant planet. You know, that's my observation. You know.
Right.
Yeah, and again, number three, unique languages. Tolkien, when he wrote Lord of the Rings, he invented his own language. You know that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, like
pretty amazing.
He was a linguistic expert, so he used some of his knowledge in other languages, and he crafted his own language, which was, I mean, people until today they play games that are derived from this franchise, and they use this language as part of their communication. It's a whole new language. It's incredible. Unique sets of rules and laws by which this world operate by. Again, we spoke about that, whether these are like civil laws or there are scientific laws. Have fun with that, you know, like whatever your world you create, you have the opportunity to go really beyond what people know. So the more you create something unfamiliar to others, like in the case of Pokemon, it was very unusual what they created in 1997 or 1996, because people have seen animal hybrids, but not in such a way. There's something like very unique about the way the Japanese, I forgot his name, who created Pokemon. He blended animals, sometimes with minerals, sometimes with plants. The way he blended them was very unique, never seen before. So have fun with this, with that stuff, you know. Like for example, Rafael, you can bring a whole element of imagination. Like there is a certain ingredient in the bonbon candies that is, you can come up with how is this ingredient is created. Like it can be some magical you know, spice that grows in a certain cave in Canada. I'm just throwing some ideas, you know. Maybe it's a certain mineral that is only found in a certain mountain in Canada, and you have to collect this in a certain time of the year to extract this mineral to make the candy. Excuse me, let me close the blind. I'll be right back. Since your IP that you're working on, Rafael, is involved around food, think about what else can you invent in terms of food. Maybe there are other secret recipes he's working on, you know, some other candies or some, you know, things like that. In your case, Laura, also maybe you can come up with certain foods that pertain to those cultures, you know, not just languages, foods,
Yeah.
you know,
Maybe
things like
maybe medicines, because I have a
medicine.
background
Yeah.
in herbology, so
Yeah, things like that. You can come up with you know, different plants that you've never seen before. You not just existing plants, imaginary plants that pertaining
right.
to your world, you know,
Yeah.
with certain powers, with certain attributes.
Can I point something out that's been very important to me as a reader, you know, as a child? I always loved, especially with Tolkien, I love maps, you know, to be able to see overall, see like where they are and the caves and the houses or the hobbit houses, you know, that stuff just seems so, for me, it was just very important in a lot of stories. I'm really glad you brought that up wherever it was. I read it.
It's
Yeah.
actually the next slide is I'm going to talk about the maps.
Okay.
Very fun
Little
part.
perceptive.
I love creating maps. It's one of the things I really enjoy doing, because when you create a map, you actually create the world.
Yes.
Whether you are designing a map of a countryside of your fox,
Yeah.
or you, Laura, creating the maps of your world.
Even this, like really simple. I didn't make this. I'm just showing an example. I don't know if you can see it, but it's just really simple, but it tells you like, oh, there's the river, there's where they went, you know, that's the house, like, because I don't know, it just seems to help. It helps with the story somehow.
Absolutely, yeah. We it's actually the next slide, so we're going to talk about that.
Sorry.
So yeah, no, thank you for bringing that up. It's very important. Number 5, unique designs, anatomy and biology, like we just said, unique tools, gadgets, architectures, and vehicles. No, have fun, Rafael, when if you decide to develop further the world of the fox. What kind of how would you design his factory, like where he makes those candies? Maybe it's gonna have a little bit of a steampunk elements. Maybe it's gonna look like some old style or something, like you're gonna come up with completely new designs, you know, things like that. Really have fun with that. Or you as well, Laura, when you create the different tools and the shamanic tools and the different artifacts of this world, you know,
Yeah.
just and not just drawing them, but you can actually also build them and use them also in as part of the inspiration. Like I told you previously, I like to sculpt when I create children's book characters. I like to sculpt them. It makes me easier to look at them when I'm drawing them. Sometimes I start with drawing, but then I stopped with the drawing. Then I create a 3D physical sculpture, and I start drawing from the sculpture itself. So there's many ways to approach that, you know.
Yeah.
And
wire work is really nice too.
Yes, wire work.
Wires.
Yeah, wires, and use some gems and all those things. Like have fun with that. Use pieces of leather, fabrics, feathers, you know, things like that. And then number 7 is the unique capabilities. What kind of capabilities are pertaining to your world, to the characters? What's unique about them? What's different? Because at the end of the day, again, people like to go into different worlds, even though they don't admit it consciously. But when you create a successful story with characters, you want to draw people into this world. So when you have unique capabilities into this world, that's when you capture them, you know?
Right.
So here are the maps that they create. These are 2 different maps I created. On the left, it was a map that I did for a children's book called The Chisel Hedgehog. Let me get a little bit closer here. So you can see here, you know, forest. It's called the Hidden Valley. You can see farmlands, rivers. Again, you come up with names for the roads, but for the towns, everything. It's really fun
nice.
part. It's
Yeah,
really
I like
fun part. I really enjoy doing that stuff.
Yeah, I bet.
That's actually the first map I drew. I was still a student in art school. That was my first children's book project. So this was done actually with pen and watercolors. That's even before I was going to digital. And then on the right, you see a map I did for we're gonna see a little animation that I created for an Indian animation studio. It's a toy city. So I was given the task of designing a city that is all about toys. So I was really going crazy, as you can see with the designs. It's really fun. It's a toy city. I mean, you decide what are the toys and what's going to be the design of the city. So I had a lot of fun in this case. They gave me a little freedom. So a few helpful tips about world building. Number one, define your world's name and setting. Number two, create a map of the territory. Number three, populate the world with different characters, species, beings, and creatures. Okay. And whether your original character lives in the countryside like Raphael, or in a certain tribe, in your case Laura, think about into what different lands or worlds are they going to venture. And again, don't feel obligated, Raphael, with your fox. You can create something completely new. It can be your own project, whatever it is. But always think about different worlds, not like when you live in a certain neighborhood. Think about yourself. You always like to explore what's outside. You like to explore your reality. So the same pertains with the world that you are creating. Make them fun, but make them, there's something that ties them together.
Can I ask you a quick question? You said to use Command-Shift-3. Is that to take a picture? Is that okay if I take a picture?
Yes, please. Okay. Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Feel free to take any snapshots whenever you want. Number four, elaborate your civilization story. Excuse me, history. What's the history of the civilization of the world you created? Number five, create systems of technology and magic. Magic always enhances whatever you create, because unfortunately most people in this world, the life is very mundane and is devoid of magic, unfortunately. So you are the magicians, guys. Bring the magic into what you create. Okay, magic, very important. Number six, distribute resources with a working economy. Again, it's very elaborate, and you don't have to utilize all those things, but you can think about if there's a certain economy. Is that a gift economy? Like, for example, there's a Chumash tribe in California. It's a tribe of Indians. They used shells as a form of currency. Did you know that? It's beautiful. It's really original. So you can come up with a certain, like your candy, for example, of the fox can be the candy itself can be a form of like a coin. You know, they can use it for trading with it's like it's so precious, it's more expensive than gold. That's something you can say you can come up with your in your pitch, Rafael. This candy is more than gold, so the animals use it as a coin, something to trade in with it. You know, that's an idea. Okay. Number seven, determine your world's power structure. Like, who runs this world? Is that a king? Is that a magician? Whatever it is. Okay, things like that. Number eight, simultaneously build your character story with your world. Again, what's their relationship? What's their position within this world? Are they progressing in hierarchy, which is advances the story? Are they starting on the bottom or wherever they are? Okay. Number nine, point out the major plot points in your story before your world. In other words, when you write your story, think about the plot points, and out of the plot points you can create the world. But you can do it the opposite way as well. Before you write your story, you can create a map, and then you can, while you create the map, because I'm a very visual person, so for me creating art actually inspires my writing. So sometimes before I even write, I just draw stuff, and then I get ideas for my drawing. So you can do it both ways. Okay, be flexible with yourself and have fun with it. Now let's watch a little animation that this is actually a CGI version of the map that I created here. We're going to watch a little animation, and you can see how that was actually translated into 3D. Now I designed this, I did not direct it. The animation is a little bit you know, not to my taste. It was done in India, but you can see they did really nice job, like the way they're materialized in 3D. They're singing actually in Indian as well. So it's really cute little video. It's really fun. Let's see that.
Can't hear it that well.
What did you say, Laura? You cannot hear
I
it very well?
can't hear it.
How about you, Rafael? Can you hear the music?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you can increase the volume of your.
I tried that.
Yeah. I'm sure why it gets cut off all the time. I reduce the quality so it's gonna maybe run faster.
Just wanna run and seek and hide. Listen to what the rhythm says. The lay your whole array.
So at the end, they become wanted criminals. Again, I'm not responsible for the directing. There was an Indian guy who directed that. But what I wanted you to see is how they translate a design of basically a map of a toy city into 3D. It was really fun, experience to work on that and to create that. And as you can see, I had a really wonderful time designing it. It was really fun.
Yeah, it's cool.
So,
it looked like they were having so much fun. The kids, like I couldn't hear it, but I could see like they were together, they were doing stuff, they're being creative. It's great.
yep.
Inspiring.
It's very inspiring, and actually I also did the storyboard for this animation. I did before even there was the actual 3D stuff. They had a certain song that I had in mind, but I kind of brought my own fun and my own sensibility, how you design a toy city, which is completely out of my head.
Nice.
So I want you guys to have freedom whatever world you design, to really go crazy with your imagination. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're going a little bit deeper into what we call the Web 3.0 universe. Are you guys familiar with the Web 3.0? You know what it is?
No.
You know about this, Rafael?
Yes, yes.
So the web 3.0, you know, the internet constantly evolves. It's an entity and it's a domain of its own. And a lot of brands, they're basically venturing into the 3.0. Basically, I'm going to show a more clear description what it actually means. But the basically of web 3.0 is the decentralized internet. It's not owned by big corporations. And one of the things that pertain to this web 3.0 is the cryptocurrency. So in this 3.0 universe, there's a lot of cryptocurrency. There's stuff that people use crypto to buy stuff, to also go into different experience using crypto, including the metaverse that they're trying to launch. And we're gonna talk about the metaverse a little bit as well. You know, I can tell you also what I think about that in terms of how it will impact children. You know, wearing those headsets. You know, which you know I'm not a big fan of, but it is what's happening right now in the world. So I just want to kind of show you guys what's out there, so you can know what's happening, and you can decide what kind of tools, and you know what kind of tools are for your disposal as storytellers. So we have a case study, one case study here of something called the invisible universe. I'm going to explain that a little bit in the next slide. So there are a couple of things that are pertaining to what creates successful characters and worlds and stories in this kind of universe. So number one, it's called the playground cred. Cred stands for credibility. It's something that kids want to wear on their backpacks. Again, we talk about how those franchises and IPs bleed into reality. Kids want to wear those things. Media content, film, web, TV are no longer standalone properties. And this is a very important term, standalone. It basically, whatever you create, it's not a standalone. It always have kind of expansion into other venues and other media forms. So it's not a standalone properties, but part of a larger narratives involving social media, video games, and dedicated fan communities. This is very, very important, dedicated fan communities, because you want to create fan base for what you create, for your stories, for your IPs, whether you create a Facebook group for your project, or you create a kind of a chat room, or you can create a universe, online universe, like a game or whatever, like a membership club. So you want to create fans, obviously, because kids are going to start to be drawn to what you create. So that's how you create fan communities. In order to become a power franchise in the kids world, you have to be everywhere all the time. Okay, that's one of the important points we want to emphasize here. Number two, direct audience engagement. In the emerging world of Web3 entertainment, creatives are going to have to get used to dealing with direct feedback from fans on a granular level in terms of what they want to see next for their heroes and villains. This is very important because today brands are very tuned to the feedback of their fans. So the feedback is very important because it gives you an idea what your fans think about what you do, and what they would like to see. Now, this is a very new and contemporary form of engagement that we did not have before. Like before, you print a book, kids read the book, and maybe they will write you a letter or they will send you an email, but this is pretty much it. But today we talk about actually sometimes almost real-time engagement with your audiences, whether they create avatars that kids can interact with the avatars, but there is real-time engagement, and which also it helps them to gather data about the consumer habits. And we're going to talk about a lot about the word of consumer, because at the end of the day, it's you're creating something for children to consume, whether it's something that is give them value, like healthy food, or give them junk food, but they're consuming something that you create. So the real-time feedback is very, very important. So let's see, want to see the next for the heroes and villains. The big three of the linear era, Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, and Cartoon Network, these are the three giants, are in a period of reinvention as their audiences move away. Audience moves away from TV to TikTok and other social platforms. I'm personally not a fan of TikTok. I just cannot stand it. I don't use TikTok. I don't have it on my phone, or I don't use it at all. But a lot of brands and influencers, they use that. So if you like TikTok, go for it. I mean, you can do little shorts that can help you promote your IP on TikTok, but definitely social media like Facebook have something that is really gaining popularity. Is called Facebook Reels. You know about Facebook Reels?
No.
It's like in Instagram, you can create a very short reel. It's like a little clip up to 90 seconds. It's called Facebook Reels. Also on Instagram, it's called, excuse me, it's called Reels, that you can do little snippets of content or up to 90 seconds. That's a very, very useful tool to promote your content. Now let's talk a little bit more about Invisible Universe, because it's a very interesting case study. Again, I'm not necessarily a fan of the quality of their storytelling of the characters, but nevertheless, they're growing and they're becoming very successful and popular. So it's worth talking about them. Invisible Universe raises $12 million in a Series A funding to launch Web3 animated character IP franchise. The internet first animation studio is backed by Jennifer Aniston from Friends and Serena Williams, the tennis player. Invisible Universe will launch new animated IP across Web3 and social media. The funding round was led by Alexis Ohanian's VC firm 776. Just a quick note, if you notice, we already have two very famous celebrities, Jennifer Aniston and Serena Williams. One is an actress, the other one is a tennis player. So it gives you a clue of strategy, like you can bring bring to your IP a certain celebrity that can help you endorse that. That is very, very helpful. So let's say you, Rafael, do something with has to do with food. Maybe you can bring a certain popular figure that is expert on food or candy making. Just an idea, you know. Or you, Laura, you can bring a very successful native Indian that can help you promote it, or somebody activist for you know, the minorities in America. Just an idea. There are many ways, but when you bring celebrities to your franchise or your IP, it helps you for exposure. Invisible Universe develops and debuts an original animated character franchises with high-profile celebrities on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And notice that the launch of those things is simultaneous. Okay, they're not just doing TikTok or YouTube, they're doing everything at once. So whatever little snippets of content that you decide to create to market your property, always think about multi-platform. Okay, you want to create accounts in each and every one of them. I personally use Twitter, excuse me, a little bit Twitter, but mostly Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. So whatever you use, you want to always share it simultaneously. Like when I was promoting my videos for this course, I promoted them on Instagram, on Facebook, and LinkedIn. Okay, a little bit of YouTube as well. So that's how you guys got exposed to that. So do you do the same with your content? The distributed animation studio has created TikTok accounts to bring to life characters, including Serena Williams' daughter doll named Kwai Kwai. So because she's an investor in this property, her little daughter has a favorite character, which she incorporated into the story. Kwai Kwai, you can see her, this little girl right here, Kwai Kwai. This is her. She's African American because that's her ancestry, and that's who she is. So she wants to incorporate that into her franchise. Kwai Kwai, Squeaky and Roy, the long lost toys of TikTok stars, Charlie and Dixie D'Amelio, other names, Jennifer Aniston's best furry friend, and more. Across all accounts, like check this out. Across all accounts, Invisible Universe has over 8.5 million fans already and boasts on average of more than 10% engagement rate. By leveraging the power and reach of high growth social media platforms, Invisible Universe has demonstrated a model of popularize IP and then expand the franchise media footprint. So let's watch a snippet, a little cartoon, and kind of get an idea what these guys are up to.
Hi, I'm Lovey. I live in Chivale with my mom and dad. Psst. Did you know that my favorite thing to do is discover all the emotions in the world? I collect them in my email decks.
just a quick note, I'm stopping here. Like, she wants to collect emotions, and the first thing that comes to mind is emojis. So that kind of gives you idea that they're already kind of pulling children into a world of digital. Like, they think like emojis are emotions. You know, that's kind of a quick note, observation.
Let me show you how it works. First, we need an emotion. These are easy to spot in Charmvale. Everyone here turns a different color depending on how they're feeling. Maybe my best friend Shiny can help us. He's yellow and shaped like a star. Keep your eyes open for him. Now, where could he be? He's nowhere to be found. He must have gone home. Lovey, I'm right here. Shiny, I'm so happy to see you. Hey, look, we just changed our color with our emotions. Let's add this one to my collection. Do you know what emotion Shiny and I were feeling just now? See if you can guess before I add the new emotion to my emo decks. Do you think we were feeling angry, sad, or happy? That's right. We were both happy to see each other. Great job. There are so many more emotions to discover, and I need your help to find them all. See you soon, love bugs.
That's it. 1 second, let me stop that. So what do you guys think about it? I'm just curious to get your feedback. What's your thoughts about that? Obviously, it's a very young audience. It's preschool, so it's very small, young kids.
Yeah.
But what's your observation? I would love to hear your thoughts.
Do you want to go first, Raphael, or you want me to go first?
You can go first, Laura. Go for it.
Well, my first reaction was, I mean, it was kind of sweet, you know, the colors and, you know, the fantasy and everything is kind of sweet. But my concern that came up is that we're just preparing kids to be in the technological world more and more. And I have great concern about people not being with people not being with animals, people not being in the environment. So I mean, I saw a kid the other day sitting on a chair, and he was very young, and he was slouched with terrible posture and not seeing the world around him, not being in the moment, you know, just into his video. So it was just concerning for me, you know.
Absolutely the same observation. I had the same. I will talk after you guys, but Rafael, absolutely agree with you, Laura. Thank you. What about you, Rafael? What do you think?
I'm agree with that, but I find I love because I do animations, and I love the animation. I find the animation good, but they're no, it's real. It's very technological, and maybe they can add some really augmented reality for not the kid just be connected with the machine, but
yeah, I agree with you guys. It's very technologically oriented.
Yeah.
As you can kind of sense here, they want to create children consumers of their metaverse. So they're kind of trying to draw in the kids into this digital world. So I just want you to pay attention to those things. Again, I'm not here saying that's bad or good or bad. Obviously, this is not something that I would cater as a content creator, but just something for you guys to observe and to be aware of. It's very, very important to see there's, you know, these guys have 8.3 million followers. So that's something to be aware of, okay? Now let's go a little bit deeper into the Web.3. Web.3 is an idea for a new iteration of the World Wide Web, which incorporates concepts such as decentralization, blockchain technologies, and token-based economics. So they're creating a new form of economics, which is based on cryptocurrency. We're seeing the power of can't live without it IP. Pay attention to that. And how it's driving the growth and retention. Again, the word is to retention because they want to retain those consumers. Retention of audiences, regardless of the platform, and igniting potential for franchise expansions, said Holloway, founding partner of 776, board member of Invisible Universe. I saw the Pixar magic up close, and this company is building the same kind of unforgettable IP with an innovative approach that reduces both time and capital while embracing audience feedback, okay? Invisible Universe has pioneered what it means to launch indelible character IP on the internet, says Tricia Biggio, CEO of Invisible Universe. Our characters have captured the hearts of audiences, made them laugh, and allowed them to feel seen while providing a moment of delight in the timelines of their favorite social platforms. This capital from our incredible investors and partners allows us to seed and grow more IP and to commercialize our franchises at scale. Obviously, their concern here is money. Okay, they admit it. They just want to have more audiences because they want to make more money. Okay, just this is what it is. When my two toddlers ask for Kwai Kwai or Clydio instead of mainstream favorites such as Mickey Mouse, Pixar characters, I know we're building something special. Off the back of its success of popularizing IPs on Web.2 platforms, Invisible Universe will launch its first Web3 franchise, The Real Metaverse, a community-driven NFT project. We're going to talk about NFTs in a moment, where holders can influence the storytelling of the animated series, which is a parody of reality TV house shows. So basically, they're taking the whole interactive thing to a whole new level, because the viewers or the audience, they can influence the outcome of the story, which is a pretty cool concept. Because if you feel that you can make an impact of your character's outcome of the story, you're going to be even more hooked on it, right? Because you want to, it's like you're playing a video game / you're watching a story, but you can actually control the outcome of the story. So just pay attention. Let's talk about NFTs. You guys know about NFTs? You guys you heard about them?
Raphael? I have some NFT and some metaverse properties.
Okay, how about you? You heard about NFTs, Laura?
I'm so new to this whole world. No.
Okay, good. So you've been exposed to some really new and things that are very popular right now. NFT stands for non-fungible tokens. These are growing increasingly popular as investors and collectors look to get involved in the latest blockchain craze. Blockchain is basically a technology that is running this whole platform. The whole thing with NFTs is basically different companies or individuals, they launch basically digital images, and people pay for them using cryptocurrency. It's like you are buying art, but actually you're not buying real art, you're buying basically pixels. However, we're going to see in the next slide that actually there is some value you're getting, not just you buying pixels, but actually you have stakes in properties, which is basically you're actually buying value. You're not just buying pixels, but actually you're becoming a stakeholder in intellectual property. Okay. NFTs are continuously growing in popularity with art collections worth millions. People pay actually millions. One famous artist, his name is Beeple. He sold a single JPEG for $69 million. That's true story.
Wow.
$69 million, yeah, in cryptocurrency. Okay, it's crazy.
So do they own it then? Like, does it become theirs, or is it just they're just?
Here is the thing with cryptocurrency, and in this particular Beeple, with his art, when people paid him $69 million, they become the owners of a certain blockchain code, because it's a digital art. They don't actually have the physical thing, but they say, okay, I paid 16. It's like more like a trophy wall. Say, I paid $69 million for this digital art, which is actually not even real. It's pixels.
Wow.
But it's crazy, I know. But we're going to see how digital starts to blend and starts to bleed into physical reality by creating actually tangible products. We're going to see that in a couple of minutes. Some of the top influencers and celebrities the world over getting involved in the action with their own projects, such as Nelk's Full Send Metacard. There's a lot of celebrities that are actually being involved, launching their own NFTs or actually investing in NFTs. We've seen collections like the Bored Ape Yacht Club, which is very popular. Like this ape, there's a whole series of thousands of apes, and they're in the same pose, just to have different accessories, different backgrounds, different colors, and each one is worth like something worth like thousands of them, worth actually millions.
So why do people value it so much? I'm trying to understand.
I think psychologically humans have the kind of the instinct to collect things, and they like to brag about their collections. That's kind of the human nature. So people like to show off, and some people have this money at their disposal to pay so much money for that stuff. why it became so popular, really hard to tell. Like bunch of apes, you know, people pay a lot of money for that.
Amazing.
But they're very they are rarity for
They are
their
rarity. You know, the rarity is basically something that the creator can decide, because they're the one who they mint the characters, so they can decide a certain character have gonna be more rare attributes, and once they start to generate a fan base, people start to compete on those things. So it's really how they launch it. There's a lot of strategy involved. So just showing you guys what's out there. Storytelling NFTs. Now this is a new form of NFTs, because usually when you talk about NFTs, usually there is no storytelling involved. They basically launch a bunch of characters. There is no any story involved. But as you can see, after those NFTs become popular, that's actually they start to create stories after that. Okay, so this is interesting phenomena. Storytelling NFTs are a way for the community members to become involved in the creative aspects of their communities. They can write the story or narrative behind an NFT collection, many of which have the possibility of becoming published work if it is a success. Like in the case of the Bored Apes Yacht Club, they're actually, I think they've been talking to Hollywood to create an animated film based on this character. So you can create a series of bunch of shoes, and then you create a story about them after that. There isn't a limit really what you can create stories, but in this case, they're just showing characters without stories. So there's many ways how you can approach characters and stories. Okay, that's a very interesting phenomena. Now, Bored and Dangerous is a collection that fits in the storytelling genre and was created thanks to the work of 3,000 members of the writer's room, driving the creative direction of the work. Basically, people took that Bored Apes and they created the whole community of 3,000 members, and people started to write their feedback. Again, what the creators do is very smart, because they allow people to participate in the creation of the story. They just provided the images, and then people start to drive the story by putting feedback. And today they use machine learning and AI and artificial intelligence. They can actually collect data and they can create story out of that. That's another way to approach storytelling in our age. Okay, whether we like it or not, but that's what people do. So the writing room driving the creative direction. Furthermore, Neil Strauss, a 10 times New York Times bestseller, wrote a Bored and Dangerous novel based on those apes. They brought this famous guy to write a novel based on those characters. The community who created the collection owns the characters that feature in the novel, the illustrations, and wears Jenkins' game. So basically, people that participate in the creation of those narratives, they become stakeholders, and that's something you can offer to your audiences. If you decide to do NFTs, you can offer them some kind of something as become co-owners of this IP. That's another thing to consider. Like when people do, for example, crowdfunding, they give something to their people who support them. Like if you give money to support a certain crowdfunding campaign, they give you some kind of a reward. So you become a stake owner. So there's many ways you can basically reward your audiences. The creative minds behind some of the largest non-fungible NFTs projects have begun experimenting with various licensing agreements. Now, this is important to incorporate intellectual property (IPs) rights for their holders, focusing on utilities and commercialization. We're going to talk in the next slides. NFTs are paving a new way forward for commerce, especially within the entertainment industry. So those licensing agreements are very important, because those apes became so famous. Now people want to license them to turn them into different products and merchandise, because they want to make money of something very important, very familiar.
Have you created NFTs? Is that something you've done?
I've done NFTs based on my artwork. I didn't create specific characters. I just minted a bunch of my digital paintings and I just posted them as NFTs, but nothing really significant happened with them. But I did not get into that heavily so far, no.
Yeah.
Through varying licensing and royalty agreements, holders are now finding more ways to monetize and underlining assets and artwork into their own merchandise, sales, and derivative projects. Bored Ape Yacht Club, for example, have utilized NFC licensing to provide holders with full ownership rights. They are redefining how NFTs can be used for mass licensing. Basically, this is a great example that people don't just basically pay money for pixels, which are worthless. They're doing actually some kind of licensing agreements, and they give ownership for their viewers to actually receive money from the sales of their NFTs and all the merchandise that result of it, which is a great business model. Another great example is Renda. Renda is also is a carefully curated, handcrafted collection inspired by community art imagination. Basically, it's another NFT collection. But if you look here, let me zoom in a little bit. If you look here on the left, there are drop-down menus. You can choose certain archetypes. You can choose what kind of armor they have, what kind of plug, attachments, backgrounds, beard, body, etc. You can basically tailor what kind of characters you want to collect. So they offer to the audiences a variety that people can actually say, okay, I want this kind of person, this kind of archetype, etc. As you can see, it's all, they're structured the same. It's basically the same body gesture. They're just switching accessories, switching backgrounds, etc. This is the most popular way that people utilize NFTs. Again, and in this case, they came up with characters, and then the community, they drive the storytelling. Okay, that's very interesting approach. Now, let's talk about how NFTs are translated into physical collectibles. Like, for example, on the left here, you can see a person wearing a certain t-shirt, and this t-shirt shows an artwork of an NFT collection. So what people do, they actually scan with their phone the artwork. When they see that person, and you can put some message on the t-shirt, and when people actually put their phone, their camera on the artwork on the t-shirt, it's like a QR code. It takes them to a website. It takes them to the actual NFT collection. So that's another way how you can blend physical reality with the digital world, how you can blend them together for the sake of promoting and also for sales. Okay, in this case, they created an NFT of collection of shoes. I don't remember which company, but basically, when you become an owner of this NFT, they actually send you a physical shoe based on this design. That's another way to do it. In this case, there is a very famous influencer, an entrepreneur. His name is Gary V. You know who's Gary V? Gary Vaynerchuk. He's a guy from New York, and he's a very popular influencer. What he did, he launched a collection of NFTs. We're gonna watch their little animation, and he partnered with Macy's and also with Toys R Us, basically to launch those characters, and also as an animated show. So let's watch and see what it is. Let me show you the screen.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, I can't begin to tell you how grateful I am for this. You guys are the best.
Okay, gift time. I'll go first.
Open it, open it, open it.
Maybe Gratitude Gorilla could wait until later.
Let's do it now. Here, I'll help you.
Oh my goodness. It's the latest fragrance from Paco Lapin. This must have cost you a bomb.
It's always nice to be able to treat your friends.
You have my eternal gratitude, Genuine Giraffe. Come here.
You're welcome.
My turn, my turn.
Whoa, this is too much.
You don't even know what it is yet. Get to shredding.
Wow, a new Shipson. Practical Peacock. I don't know what to say. I'll treasure this forever.
Your turn, common sense cow.
I don't know, guys.
Why so shy?
It's just, well, compared to those super expensive presents, mine is kind of lame. Oh, don't say that. You know it's the thought that counts. Oh, okay. Hallelujah! Oh! Oh. You know, there's a big difference between what something costs and its actual value. Thank you, my friend, for the most meaningful gift I've ever received. Now, who wants some cake? Hey, where'd it go?
I missed breakfast today.
Very interesting. Heavily promoting consumerism, right? What do you guys think?
I love that. At the end, there are some morale.
There is morale, absolutely. So they offer some kind of value, but as you can see, it's very heavily catered all about consumerism and buy stuff and things like that. So again, just to show you something that guys, that's what's happening in terms of content and characters, like the practical peacock, right? It's very interesting, like they call him the practical peacock. It's absolutely fascinating to see how the world is evolving into those things. Now I'm gonna skip the exercise for now because we have half an hour. We're gonna go back to this exercise because I have more stuff to go over with you guys. Now let's talk about successful cross-media IP case studies. How transmedia made Lego the most powerful brand in the world. Now, when I say the most powerful brand in the world, it's according a certain company. I'm not saying that this is in terms of money of franchise, because we know Winnie the Pooh is the highest grossing franchise. But this is a very interesting case study here. The tremendous success of Lego's storytelling and world building can be seen in toys, games, TV, movies, and even fan fiction. Lego was named the most powerful brand in the world by leading brand evaluation and strategy consultancy called Brand Finance. Lego scores highly on a wide variety of measures on brand franchises' brand strength index, such as familiarity, loyalty, promotion, staff satisfaction, and corporate reputation. These are very important things to kind of keep in mind when we talk about familiarity. Okay, this is a very well-established brand that has been around for over 80 years. Loyalty, people buy Lego, they always go back to buy Lego, even if they're a little bit become adults. Promotion, staff satisfaction, and corporate reputation. They have the reputation is obviously, it's very important how you what kind of reputation you create for your IP or brand. Lego is a uniquely creative and immersive toy. Like immersion is very important aspect we want to talk today. Children love the ability to construct their own worlds that it provides. Like if you look at a more contemporary version of Lego, you guys familiar with Minecraft? You know about Minecraft?
I've heard of it, but I don't remember what it is.
So Minecraft is basically a digital version of Lego. It's basically kids are obsessed about Minecraft because it's like they're using bricks to build worlds in 3D basically in a game. It's not a metaverse, although they are venturing into the metaverse. But Minecraft started as a video game where basically you use a certain like blocks of bricks and you build worlds. And kids are crazy about that. But so Lego is like the physical version of Minecraft, which is before Minecraft. But Minecraft is something for also to worth looking into. Although in terms of the design, it's all made of blocks, little blocks, all bricks. It's like pixels basically. Let's see where we are. Lego is a uniquely creative, immersive toy. Children love the ability to construct their own worlds that it provides. In a tech-saturated world, parents approve of the back to basics creativity. It encourages and have a lingering nostalgia for the brand long after their own childhoods. So basically what drives this brand is also because the adults that used to be kids once before they play with the toys, it still drives the brand because they want to share with their children the toys they play with. So the loyalty here is very clear. The Lego movie perfectly captured this cross-generational appeal. It was a critical and commercial success, taking over $1.4 billion since its release in 2014. It has helped propel Lego from a well-loved, strong brand to the world's most powerful in terms of these guys. Frank Rose, Columbia's School of the Arts senior fellow, said in his book, The Art of Immersion, absolutely a great book to read, The Art of Immersion by Frank Rose. Today, storytelling is colonizing realms of commerce, such as branding and retailing, that traditionally have had little to do with actual telling of stories. That's very important, because when you talk about brand and retail, there was very little value in terms of storytelling. However, marketeers who understand the immersive potential of stories have a considerable edge over those who try to connect with their audience in less sophisticated ways. And again, sophistication is a very important term nowadays, because audiences today, they are very tech savvy, and obviously we still have the traditional things like books, toys, and things like that. But when you understand, when you can utilize storytelling in marketing, whatever you market, whether it's just a book or you market a company, the value of storytelling you utilize is very, very important. If you know how to use it, you have the advantage. Now, I want to show you a few examples of iconic and merchandises that sell very well. Like when you develop merchandise for your IP or company, there's many ways to approach. Like the obvious thing, like you just sell a certain 3D version of whatever product you have, but there are more clever ways to approach it. For example, on the right hand, one of the most successful IPs, Hello Kitty. I think it's a Japanese originated, but what they did here, they actually sell a product that grows catnip for cats. So that's a really cool idea, that you can actually utilize the brand concept to cater a certain demographic, in this case, cats. But because it's a cat for catnip, it's a really cool concept. Or here, actually, this is a physical structure of what the Minecraft looks like. When you go into Minecraft, this is how the world looks like. So they are basically selling like construction sets made of cardboard that you can actually build those things, okay? Or here on the right bottom, you can see the famous lamp from Pixar. When you see each Pixar movie at the beginning, there's like this lamp that jumps, etc. So they're actually selling a physical lamp that is based on a very familiar lamp from the animation, which is great. And here you can see like comic strips on a cup from Disney. Here a mask, I forgot which brand is that, but it's again a physical manifestation of a concept. And here you have a Lego golden ring, okay? Here you have a tape with I forgot his name, the character from Star Wars. Here actually, it's really funny, they created a walker for older people that is designed by Walker from Star Wars. It's really funny. Or here you have a whole dog feeding set based on R2D2. No, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So let's do a quick assignment before I wanted you guys to do a little exercise before we go to the homework. So this is what I want you to do now for the next few minutes. I want you to draw a random collection of few quick NFT characters and assign a theme to them. Now, it can be whatever it is, like just quick theme and quick sketches. Don't be elaborate, but I want you to just imagine that you would launch an NFT collection. This could be based on a book that you're working on or anything, but I want you to think about if you would launch an NFT collection of characters. I want you to think about what would that be, make really rough sketches and come up with a theme, okay? So I'll let you a few minutes to do that, okay, guys? Okay, I'll be right back. Let me know, guys, when you're ready.
I'm ready whenever.
Okay. How about you, Rafael? You ready?
Not yet, just
Okay.
a few seconds.
No problem. Take your time. Ready, Rafael?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So, Laura, why don't you go first? You finished first, so I want you to share yours quickly.
Okay, I mean, this is fast sketches.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know if you can see them.
Yeah, if you can put this in the front of the camera,
Okay.
a little bit to the left. Yes. Okay. So what is? Oh, beautiful. What are these?
They're just masks.
Uh-huh.
So I did a theme of masks, like different masks you could buy or different masks you could wear, you know.
Beautiful.
They all just have different personalities, and I don't really know where I was going with that.
It's beautiful. I love it. Masks. So what was your inspiration for those masks? What's kind of
I've always loved masks. My dad used to collect them. So as a child, I was like looked up at different masks from all over the world. And it was just kind of a cool thing to, you know, like put them on or just look at them or wonder where they're from.
I saw some of them had like a little kind of a punk rock influence.
Yeah, there was a punk rocker there. Yeah.
So they are kind of inspired by music, maybe by punk masks.
Yeah, that one was. Yeah.
Beautiful. So if you would now have to first create the art and then come up with some kind of a story based on those masks, would any story pop into your mind? Some kind of a mask story, backstory comes to mind?
well, like, I'll just make this up, is like, if you go, you know, the holodeck, you know, that whole theme of the holodeck, where you
What
can
is that?
go and you can be anything you want.
Mhm.
Well, if you put the mask on, that it transforms you and you get to have the experience of that being by just placing the mask on the face.
Brilliant, beautiful. And since it's kind of had a reference to punk rock, you can maybe tie in with some you know, like maybe the Sex Pistols or some other you know, punk rock stuff. It's beautiful,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
original, really cool, Laura. Thank you.
Mhm.
What about you, Rafael?
Oops. It's a quick ID. Okay, this is the pattern of my NFT. Very basic pattern, and it's, I think, 10. It's a generation of 10,000 of NFT. Automatic, automaticated, made it, and it's a imaginative animal. It's a random animal with 1, 2, maybe 6 characteristic. You know, they are a different muzzle, different eyes, and glass, or ninja mask, and maybe some here. But you can have a duck with corn, and a pig with a ninja mask and corn, or you know, they are all in many colors.
Okay. So what is the inspiration for your NFTs?
The last video I look with you with the little world of animals.
So that was the inspiration. And if
very
you
simple, animal.
Okay, beautiful. And if you would come up with a kind of a backstory for those characters, what would be a story that comes to mind?
A pet factory.
Pet factory. Okay, tell me more about it. What do you mean pet factory? That's cool.
It's a brilliant, a clever,
it's a what?
Clever scientific. He create a machine, and they create character, but he don't have the control of the machine, and it can make any kind of animal. Duck with I don't know, cat with a duck, like a muzzle like a dog, you know.
So animal hybrids.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But totally random.
Beautiful. Pet factory. That's a great idea. So let's kind of recap before we go to the home assignment. Today we covered some really important aspects of how you can grow what you create as storytellers into something much bigger. As you can see in this course, you guys are acquiring the mindset of thinking way beyond just designing characters. And those aspects that we covered today, such as the characters and story and the world building, are very essential to your overall the IP you're going to be creating, hopefully, and not just the children's publishing, something much bigger. And those essential elements are going to be very helpful for you. So I want you to give more thoughts in. Would be wonderful if you focus on a project that will benefit you. So since you're already working on a children's book, you can keep working on that. And Rafael, do you have some kind of a project you're focusing on, or is you still kind of exploring things?
I'm thinking of I'm going to explore some world, more complex world with all the archetype. I think to maybe make a map with archetype character. No story, maybe some backstory, but I need some material for create stories.
Okay. Well, by now I think you should have a lot of material to create stories. I think we have a lot of we covered a lot of elements that should be helpful for you. And again, that can be a personal project, or something can be like very like commercially oriented, like what you have with the bonbons with this company. You can create like a pitch to go to a company, and you can pitch them, and you can say, okay, I have an idea for you guys for a marketing campaign, and then you can utilize all these things that you've been learning in the class. That can be something you can explore, and you can feel free to communicate with me during the week if you have some ideas or thoughts that you are thinking. I'll be more than happy to give you feedback on that if that's something you want to explore. So you're more than welcome, because I want you guys to obviously have a commercial exploitation of what you do. It's not just about having great ideas and designs, but also for everybody, also for those are not in the class right now, the commercial exploitation of what you do is very important, because I want you to guys be also financially successful with what you do. This is very, very important. So all these elements we're covering here in the next couple of classes are going to be geared towards that, talking about all the different technologies we have, like how you build worlds and all those different elements. These are very, very essential for your success. So I want you guys to really get the best out of it.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, absolutely.
So because I've been in another career, another world, and I'm just kind of like slowly entering into this world, do you recommend, like, do you teach classes like introduction into like this whole kind of thing? Because I feel like this feels like advanced to me, some of this. It's wonderful. I'm loving it, but it feels advanced.
Well, I'm in this class, in this course, I'm doing my best to cover a broad spectrum of tools that you have at your disposal. Not
Right.
to say you have to use them all, because I'm personally not deeply involved in NFTs. I'm not doing that myself. It's not something that deeply invested in. I'm showing you that as an example. And if you don't resonate with that, you don't have to use that.
Right.
I'm showing you those things to get you familiar. The more I might do more advanced course to get more advanced, more focused on actually independent project, on a specific project. I can either do it in a group, or I can do it independent study with you. We can do that as well. So I'll be more than happy to do that. But the more important thing for you, I want you to take, because I know it's overwhelming, and even for me, because I like traditional storytelling, learning about those invisible universe and the V friends and all those things, it feels like for me many times very technical and very very cold. I don't feel it doesn't have heart to me, for example, me personally. But I know a lot of people and parents and children that do resonate with that. So I'm showing those things not to overwhelm you, but to show that there are options. And if you don't resonate with that, that's okay. I'm more personally, I'm more like into children's books, animations, toys, merchandise, some NFTs with cross-platform into merchandising that I would like to explore down the road, but gives you more the spectrum and how you can approach it with the mindset. And some point, maybe you can bring a team that can do those things for you, when you start with your book, because I think the book is something that you're more kind of feel comfortable working on. You can bring to later on a team that will do those things for you. Like you can extract characters from your book and you can launch them as NFTs. Or maybe there's somebody who can come on board and do 3D modeling of your things, or many, many different things.
I'm at the very beginning stages of just like getting, like, I don't even know how to what paper to put it on. Like I'm so old fashioned, I'm doing watercolor and, like, I'm like, am I just outdated, or is people still doing that? Like,
Absolutely, people still do that, and you should do what you feel comfortable doing, Laura. That's the most important thing. Don't be overwhelmed.
Okay.
The most important thing for you is to create what you're doing in the whatever mediums you feel comfortable with. Don't get overwhelmed. A lot of people out there, they just do digital stuff. They don't like to do traditional stuff, and vice versa. All the mediums are welcome. It's just the world is evolving, so there are more options to our disposal. But at the essence, storytelling is not changing. It's the same thing. It's about characters, it's about story, and it's about worlds. Those three things, and that's it. How people interact with your stories, with the characters, there's many variations, but the most important thing is not to get overwhelmed by technology, is to use what fits for you. That's the most important thing. So focus on what you feel comfortable with. And like I said, we can do later an independent study if you want, and we can do that more on an ongoing basis, I'll be more than happy to do that. I've done it with students before, and I'm more than happy to do it with you as well. With you, Rafael, if you want to do independent study, we can do that as well. Focus on a project, or we can do weekly meetings and things like that. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Really focus on the three things: the character, the story, and the world. What tools you will utilize, it's up to you. I'm showing you the best to my knowledge, the best to my abilities, what's out there. So you can, it's like, again, you go to a buffet and there's many things on the table. You take what you like. Nobody's going to force you to eat everything. You know, some people like, you know, but I want you to just pick what fits for you, what is good for you. That's the most important thing. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I'll send you a couple questions I have. I don't want to take up too much time, but I do have a few more questions.
Please do,
I'll
please
send
do.
them to you.
And you can also send me your, if you want to send me your story synopsis.
Yeah, I've been meaning to do that. I just,
whenever you're ready, whenever you're ready. Yeah. So let's go talk about the home assignment. Three things. Number one, I would like you to draw a few ideas of merchandise for a brand or story you created. I want you to think about, like, for example, Laura, for your book, if you would develop merchandise, what kind of merchandise you would like to create? Just come up with ideas, have fun with it.
I really think the musics keep sticking with me. Like,
what, whatever. It can be
I don't know.
it can be musical instruments that you can sell as merchandise. It can be an album of music. It can be a book of songs. It can be a karaoke, whatever. Just think about it. If it's music, go with the music, but think about creative ways how you will turn your IP into merchandise. Okay? Because I want you to make money out of it, really, because then you can grow and do more stuff with it. Okay? Number two, bring to next class one example of a merchandise you like, whatever it is, and talk about it. Whatever merchandise is valuable for you. Okay? It can be from your childhood, it can be something contemporary, anything. Number three, write down, this is very important, and draw a diagram of a possible scenario of transmedia strategy for your IP. In other words, if you would grow whatever you're working on right now into an IP, big IP, into what mediums would you translate that, and how would you go about it? For example, Laura, in your case, your book, you say, I want to do a book, and I want to launch an online gallery of artifacts from the world I created. And I would like to also create little musical snippets of children singing songs. And also I would like to sell musical instruments from my book. Just an example, okay? Or Rafael, let's say you do Okona Fox to say, okay, I would like to launch, in terms of, again, cross media, again, into as many mediums as possible. I would like to launch an animated series. I would like to launch a kids cookbook, how to make candies. And I would like to launch toys and maybe some Instagram and blah, blah, blah. Okay, I want you to think in terms of strategy, how would you expand that into cross media? Does it make sense? Again, guys, have fun with it. Whether you're going to do it later or not, it doesn't matter. But I want you, again, I encourage you to think as not just artists, but also as entrepreneurs. You are creating an intellectual properties. How would you go about sharing that with the world? What would be the great means, the greatest ways for you to share that, to gain audience engagement, so you can obviously make some money, so you can expand and do more of your ideas. Okay?
Doesn't the book have to like kick off and get really popular before you make merchandise that sells?
Not necessarily. For example, you can launch a book, but at the same time you can do a series of little videos that shares certain cute outfits from your book. Maybe the outfits are going to make your book famous, or maybe you're going to create a series of little songs from your book that kids, you maybe going to hire local kids, they're going to sing your songs, and maybe the songs will capture, they will kind of ignite the popularity. Again, we're here not to think just about a book, we're here to think about as many possible avenues as possible. Okay? Any questions before we close the class? No?
Too many questions.
Okay, feel free to email me, guys. It was a pleasure to see you two guys today. I hope you enjoyed.
I did. Thank you. Have a great night, guys.
Have a great night. I'll send you the recording later, guys. Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.